Welcome to Unit 3. We're going to start with 3a. This is find the inverse of a function. So for example 1, to find the inverse of a function, our function is the equation. And first thing you need to do is switch the x and y. So you literally just take the x and y and you switch them. So we have x equals the cube root of y minus 1 plus 4 on the outside. Our second step is just to solve the equation for y. So we're going to get this y by itself. To get the y by itself, you need to do the reverse order of operation. So using the reverse order of operations. So PEMDAS. Reverse of PEMDAS. So PEMDAS, adding and subtracting is last. So we're going to take care of any addition and subtraction to the opposite. So you have an adding 4, so you subtract 4. A little line here so you can distinguish. You have x minus 4 is just x minus 4. Cube root still of y minus 1. Now you might say, Mr. Johnson, I have a y minus 1 here. Why can't I just add 1 there? You have the cube root. This cube root is of everything on the inside, y minus 1. So you cannot take part of part of what's underneath the cube root and move it. That's all together. Y minus 1 is together right now. So our next step in solving for y, since y minus 1 is untouchable, it's underneath the cube root, we have to get rid of the cube root. So the opposite of a cube root is cubed. So now we cube both sides. Cube root and cube get canceled, leaving us with the y minus 1. Now you have a minus 1 on the outside, or y minus 1. Now you can just add 1. Add 1. That x minus 4 to the third power plus 1 equals y. And the correct notation that we need to write for this is the third step. The correct notation for inverse is putting a little negative 1 as a power, kind of. That negative 1 means inverse. And there's our inverse of the original function. If you notice the inverse from the original, if I can get this on the same screen. The original had a cube root up here, and now we have a cube. The original had a plus 4. You look down, you have a subtract 4 down here. The original had a subtract 1 on the inside, now there's a add 1 on the outside. It's kind of opposite of everything, so you can think of the inverse as being opposite. Alright, next problem. We have, again, find the inverse. This time it's f of x equals 4 over x minus 2 subtract 5. So we have a rational function here. First thing to do, switch x and y. Remember the f of x, just think of that as y for right now. So we need to switch the x and y. So we have x equals 4 divided by y minus 2 subtracting 5. Now we need to solve this. So we need to get the y by itself. A couple things here. We have a fraction. This fraction is all together. So you can't just take the y minus, or let's subtract 2 on the bottom and move that somehow. I should get rid of this. Parentheses around the numerator and denominator. Sorry, technical difficulties. So the only thing you can do right now is add 5. Add 5. X plus 5 equals, and now the rational part is by itself. But our y is in our denominator. The only thing on the right side with the y, the only operation we have is division. Because y minus 2, that is all together. That's y minus 2, it's together right now. So the only thing we can do, the only move we can do is multiply by y minus 2 on both sides. When you do that, it gets our y out of the denominator. And that's what you want. You want the y to be out of the denominator. I'm going to put the x plus 5 in parentheses because I need to multiply the y minus 2 to both x and 5. So now the y is out of the denominator. Now I can start moving stuff away from it. We have y minus 2. Think of that as being one whole number. And x plus 5 is an actual number. Think of it that way. And in between you have multiplication. The only thing to do, you have two things multiplied together. Well, you can divide by one of those two things. I'm going to take the x plus 5 and divide by x plus 5 because that's going to help get the y by itself. X plus 5 divided by x plus 5 is 1. 1 times y minus 2 is just y minus 2. And hopefully you're starting to see, hey, we're getting close. We're almost there. And the next last thing is just add 2. Both sides. Now remember at the very beginning, it wasn't that y, it was f of x. So if you start with f of x, the correct notation is f to the negative 1 of x. We call this is called the inverse of f of x. You just have 4 over x plus 5 and then plus 2. Again, if you look back at the actual start, you're going to see a lot of opposites. You had a subtract 5, you see a plus 5 there. You had a subtract 2, you see a plus 2. And so you'll see a lot of that. Inverse is like opposite. Come to class with questions, and let's put another problem on for your quiz that you're going to come into class. For the quiz, I would like you to find the inverse of y equals 2x plus 1. Find the inverse of y equals 2x plus 1. This will be what your quiz on when you walk into class. Thank you.